Thank you. First alert into our newsroom overnight. 2 people are dead after a one-vehicle crash in Shawano County. The Shawano County Sheriff's Office says the crash happened on Elm Road near Cone Tuck Drive and Bartlemy just after 5 Thursday night. First responders saw the vehicle on fire when they arrived. A man and a woman were found dead. Officials not releasing their names as they work to identify them and notify their family members. If you have any information on the crash, you're asked to call the Shawano County Sheriff's Office. That number at the bottom of your screen right there at 715-526-3111.